What was your thoughts on the whole tournament this weekend?
A lot of the new generation, missing last year. A lot of guys had really started making their name, and competing on the circuit, doing really well, but they didn't have the worlds, and so it was cool to see that new blood, that new generation that have been working so hard, competing a lot, get their opportunity for the big one. And of course, the worlds bring out all the veterans. And so we got to see some matches that we hadn't seen yet, and it was pretty exciting. Just the level of these kids these days is insane. And back in our time, it was a little more rare to see these guys, first year black belts, right off the bat winning so much, winning the worlds in their first year. It was a lot more rare. It happened every now and then, but usually you had to take a few losses, kind of
first couple of years of warm up.
Figure out the timing, the strategy. Everyone is so sharp, and they kind of level you up, and then you start to win. Not that you wouldn't medal or maybe win some of the smaller events, but the worlds, it was really hard to win the worlds your first try as a black belt. But now, it's not like that at all. They're winning right in their first year, beating the multiple time world champs, and they're still so young. I think a lot of that has to do with how you can compete on a professional level against black belts.
Against the best, right?
Against the best early. Even as a blue belt, super purple fights, belt, especially in no-gi, obviously it's a lot easier, but they're getting these opportunities to compete against the best early on. The training, the evolution is happening so fast. And so they're going right out there, and I mean, they're just beating legends right off the bat. And it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I mean, they have that experience. Like I'm on the same level. These guys, they know, right? Which it took like all year for you to go against them in the worlds right before. Yeah,
for sure. And especially
the game
for me too. And I mean, I know you lived in Brazil for a period of time, but a lot of times back when I was a kid, like the only time you saw those guys is if you went to Brazil.
Right.
And so they really kind of built up a lot more of a mystique, in my mind, to me, when I was a kid, watching them on VHS tapes or once a year when I would go to Brazil. They just really, you kind of built them up in your head. They're just almost godlike. And next thing you know, a few years have passed, you're wearing a black belt and you're looking at them across the mat, from you. And it's just a lot more to overcome mentally, to break through and say, I'm on that level and I can beat you, versus nowadays they're seeing them all the time.
And everybody's here now, right?
Yeah.
In the US, compared to like everybody was down in Brazil in the jungle, right? And so like the Mecca was like, was Rio de Janeiro, and now the Mecca's kind of like SoCal. We'll see what happens with COVID and all the restrictions and everything, but right.
There's a few Meccas out here, right. SoCal,
now
Florida,
Texas is coming up, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of jiu-jitsu,
but just all the big tournaments were always here.
Yeah,
right? The Pan,
for sure.
The world,
for sure.
So, and then everybody was moving here too.
Yeah. The access is incredible. I try to tell people, like, you guys don't know how spoiled you are. You can get world-class instruction, train with the world's best right there. I remember just having to travel so far and spend so much money to learn just a little bit. And you just cherished it. It was so worth it every time. And I think a lot of that,
coming to Cali, right? All those years.
Yeah.
Your
Cali,
dad sending you to
driving
Cali.
to Texas,
Driving to Texas.
From Oklahoma. We would drive 3.5 hours to Dallas, train in the morning class, do a private lesson, all that, drive right back, teach and train at night. Especially when I got old enough and I had my own car, I would do that several times a month. And a lot of that I think made me a better student. It makes you a better student because you really study and you cherish the information that you're getting.
You value.
I would take notes, I would go back, show my dad everything that I learned. We're going to drill this. We're going to work on this for the next weeks, the next months, teach it in the classes that I was doing to help me reinforce. And it made me a better student, and it really helped me just learn a lot of jiu-jitsu as well. Like I wanted
Complete game.
I wanted to learn from everybody, and just
Different styles.
take as much home as I could. The only problem was I didn't really develop my own system, my own style, because I didn't have a mentor. I was learning from, go to California, go to Brazil, go to Texas, pick up things from everybody. I would be watching videos, and I would experiment with everything and want to understand and learn it enough to know how to deal with it if someone was doing it to me. But then I didn't really have one system to follow until later on, whenever I started training with Salo and Shanji Hibeto, and I had that mentorship.
Yeah.
Then I really started to develop my system and put it all together, which was a must for competition, because if you go out there and you can't fully understand what it is that you do, you can't make those decisions quick enough, and you're trying to decide, do I want to do this or do that? You're behind, and there's just no time for that at that level.
Yeah. There was like a quote from Salo, like, something like, you think, if you think, or whatever, you just got to do
late.
it. You're late. Yeah.
If you're late, you're tired. If you tire, you die.
That's it.
Yeah.
You're tired, you die.
100%. 100%. Especially with
face,
him.
no motion, black and white.
Yeah, especially with him. And that's the pressure game. It wears you out, makes you tired. And he's just the type that if you let him in one good spot, you're never coming back. And that's your downfall right there. And he'll make you pay in the worst way possible. Smother. It's a little painful being underneath him.
You guys met at the Arnold, right? After one of the tournaments, and you guys, I told you, right? He was one of my favorite. He was my favorite. He was my favorite. He's like, for me, he's like the GOAT.
Yeah.
Just because
Me too.
I learned like strategy and tactics.
The mental warfare, the attitude, the mindset. That is really what kind of made him so special back in those days. And he knew how to play. He would, one match, he's taking you down, smashing you.
Man.
And then out of nowhere, next round, you expect the same thing. He pulls guard.
Yeah.
He knew how to play everybody just right.
Like Gorgino, I was just with him yesterday, right? But his closed guard, right? You don't go in his closed guard back, and so what did he do? He did not let him close his guard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nino was at the top of his game. He was like the Mike Tyson of jiu-jitsu. Like
Salo pull guard. Incredible.
One by one, he took them all apart.